Welcome back, beautiful people. Today we'll be talking about farmer victories on multiple fronts which cut across the northern corridor of the Kidal region and the central belt of Kulikoro. Insurgent logistics dismantled, strategic positions reclaimed with enemy supply lines cut off completely. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to show you the proof, because the image always tells the story of what victories look like. Let's watch this video. How about that? This is a big illustration of the robust consolidation of the Malian positions across the contact lines, and victories like this is a vast projection that goes beyond optics. This is a show of improvement, adaptation, and operational capability of the Malian forces and its allies. I'm very curious to know what you think about this. Do you think the Malians are making progress? Do let me know in the comments. And again, I would also like to show you a communique that was released by the Malian General Staff, so stay with me.
The General Staff of the Armed Forces informs national opinion that, as part of the surveillance operations of the national territory, the air vectors of the Malian Armed Forces conducted, on Tuesday, June 16, 2026, an offensive reconnaissance in the west sector of the locality of Lere, Timbuktu region. The vectors engaged during this operation targeted a vehicle belonging to armed terrorist groups transporting logistical equipment near the village of El Sarabo. The vehicle was completely destroyed and the individuals on board were neutralized. In the same area, a second strike targeted a terrorist refueling depot where a large number of barrels of fuel and several motorcycles had been formally identified. As a result of this strike, the said logistics refueling depot, which also served as a cross-border transit point for terrorists, was completely destroyed. The General Staff of the Armed Forces congratulates the FAMA for their professionalism and their unfailing commitment to national defense. Armed terrorist groups will be hunted down to their last entrenchments throughout the national territory. United, we will win. Fama Bamako, the 17th of June 2026.
With that said, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Looking at the contextualized statistics, it's becoming increasingly obvious that the enemy cannot match the intensity of the Malian armed forces' onslaught on the battlefield. Hence, the attritional metadata says it all. This next episode is about Natalie Yam and what she said, because she's receiving a lot of backlash for it. What did she even say that was so wrong or unheard of? Let us watch this video.
Since yesterday, I've seen the African internet buzzing about Yan being sentenced to 20 years in prison. Christian Bernard Vézillier for undermining the security of the Malian state. Vézillier is a French DGSE agent infiltrated under diplomatic cover who was arrested while he was plotting a coup d'etat in Mali to overthrow General Assimi Goita with the help of senior Malian officers. They were also arrested. I've explained all of this to you in detail. In the video that appeared on the screen, you can watch it afterwards. So I see the joy, I see the elation, but I have to admit that mine are more tempered, and I'll explain why. But first, a disclaimer. Often, when I say things right at that moment, there are people who get upset. And after a year or two, they all come back to apologize because I was right. I'd like to take this opportunity to say hello to my Senegalese family. Here. What I'm about to say, I'm saying as a warning because a forewarned African is worth 1,000. I'm wondering why young Christian Bernard Vézillier didn't have a public trial. I'm wondering why the reason for this expedited trial not being public was not communicated to the Malian people. And finally, I'm wondering why the Malian officers arrested in connection with this same case have not been tried and either convicted or acquitted at the same time as him. And I must admit that this isolated conviction worries me because it could be a prelude to an isolated deal as well. So I'm going to say it very clearly. I hope that's not what's being prepared. Because in the history of Africa, we have too often seen French criminals convicted by African courts sent back to France, supposedly to finish serving their sentences there, and who, once they return home, are simply released in a very short time. In 20 years, if our ancestors grant us life, we must see with our own eyes Jan Christian Bernard Vézillier behind bars in Mali. The only deal, the only way we can accept Vézillier being released from prison before his sentence ends in 2046 is if either he is dead or the French state, in exchange for his early release, has handed over those auxiliary mercenary terrorists to us. Yad Al-Khali, Amadou Koufa, Aboulaye, Mamadou Bakay Diallo, Al-Kharbas Al-Intala, Sedan, Agita, Bilal, Agacharif, and Abderrahman. Al-Batna Al-Jaziri. I'm not saying one, not two, all 7 of them. If that's not the case, we don't want to hear that this individual benefited from a presidential pardon, or that there was some kind of agreement, or even that for humanitarian reasons, because he fell ill, he was allowed to go home before serving his time. We don't want to hear that because Sadio Camara is dead. Thousands of people have died. Millions of lives have been destroyed because of people like Vézillier, his colleagues, his superiors, and the Western destabilization of the Sahel, ordered and carried out by the French state. So if one day someone in Mali decides that Vézillier should be released, outside of the framework I just mentioned, we will know that this person is not or is no longer fighting alongside us, and that they were behind the assassination of Sadio Camara. I call all of you as witnesses. We saw here 4 DGSE agents, French Secret Service agents who were arrested in Ouagadougou, where they were held for a year. And then there was an arrangement and they were allowed to leave. But it's because every time you let these people go in exchange for deals, they never stop coming back to destabilize us. They even shamelessly sit on TV shows in France and say that no, well, now that their official army has been driven out of the Sahel, it's them, the mercenaries, who will take over to continue the mission unofficially.
It's true that by being present, we could better protect ourselves from the actions of jihadist groups. On the other hand, also, maybe now, with our ambassador and our contingent no longer being hostages in Niger, in a way, in that vulnerable position, we might have more leeway to carry out destabilization operations, this time more clandestine ones.
When the Westerners see that their agents are getting caught and end up in jail for the rest of their lives, or are even executed, as happens in some Asian countries or even in the USA, then on that day, they will start to think twice before coming to meddle in our countries. And besides, they will have a much harder time finding agents willing to come and do their dirty work here, because now everyone knows that from now on, if you get caught here, you're done for. Maybe the younger ones among you don't know this, but people of my generation still remember how the delinquent Nicolas Sarkozy, then president of the French Republic, landed in N'Djamena in 2007, claiming he was going to bring back the mafiosi from the Zoe's Ark, child traffickers disguised as humanitarian workers who had been arrested while abducting 103 Chadian children and sentenced to 8 years of hard labor. And Déby Sr., a good lackey of Paris, just like his son Kaka Mahama, at the time hurried to comply, first by allowing them to return to France, supposedly, to serve their sentence, and in the process by granting them a presidential pardon. Many of us have never gotten over the disgrace of this affair. The time for backroom deals is over. France wants to bring down Mali in order to sabotage, to kill the AES. So this concerns all of us. Let Vézillier stay in prison until his sentence is up, or until his fellow mercenaries Terreau are handed over to us. That's when I'll really celebrate. this was Natalie Young.
Maybe putting a call through to General Assimi Goita might have been better. We have a reaction from a top Malian journalist by the name Abdul Niang. Let's listen to what he said.
When Natalie, who is currently serving as a high-level special advisor to the president of ANES, goes so far as to make such a grotesque and offensive insinuation, which was completely and utterly fabricated from thin air by the sworn enemies of Mali, she herself comes and sits down right here, making these very same statements under deceptive and entirely false pretenses. And what exactly does she have to say for herself? No, if I am indeed being watched so closely, it must surely be thanks to the efforts of... It is argued that this specific point should be strictly required as a mandatory condition before any attempt is made to extradite Yadagali. Regarding the figure known as Amadou Koufa, we really must listen and be serious about the facts. Let us be completely serious for a moment. The truth is that Yadagali is not currently in the hands of the French authorities, but rather he is being held in the territory of Algeria. Meanwhile, Koufa continues to shuttle back and forth frequently between the borders of Mauritania and the surrounding regions. Algeria is set to meet. Now, regarding Nathan Anyam, who serves as the special advisor to President Chani, we must ask exactly how many times has she met with the Algerian authorities in Niamey? She has met with the Algerians in Niamey specifically in her capacity as the high-level special advisor to the President of Niger. Furthermore, she has also met with various Algerian authorities in Algiers during several official state visits. That provided a significant opportunity for further diplomatic discussions. Is it really appropriate for her to personally request President Tebboune for the head of Yad Lagali? Why exactly didn't he go to see her in person? Why? We must remember that Yad is not currently in France. He is clearly located within the borders of Algeria. So, quite honestly, this kind of behavior simply needs to stop immediately. And we absolutely need to put a definitive end to these kinds of highly inappropriate and disrespectful remarks. The state of Mali and even the authorities in Niger must be uncompromising regarding these behavioral excesses.
This is a very, very interesting conversation because of the stakes. Maybe Natalie Yam was cautious because a lot of lives have been lost in the conflict. Perhaps she got too emotional. But this is still our Natalie Yam. She has been solidly behind us in this fight. Let us know your opinion in the comments. It's your girl, Flo, representing the Android community. Thank you and God bless you.
Hanana Ulsidi, Minister of Defense for Veterans Affairs, Retirees and Children and Martyrs of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, is carrying messages from Mohamed Ulsidi El Ghazouani, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, to his counterpart in Niger, Army General Abdraman Chani, President of the Republic. That is why this audience was granted to him by the head of state, he told us. As he left the audience,
I had the honor of being received in audience today by His Excellency, Army General Abdelrahman Tiani, President of the Republic of Niger and Head of State, to whom I delivered a written message from his brother Mohamed Oufcha El Fazouani, President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. I also conveyed to His Excellency the fraternal greetings of his brother, President Mohamed Oufcha El Fazouani, as well as his sincere wishes for progress, prosperity and well-being to the people of Niger. Brother, this meeting was an opportunity to reaffirm the excellence of our relations, as well as our constant commitment to their development in the service of security, stability and development in our region. At the end of the meeting, His Excellency Army General Abdraman Tiani, President of Niger and Head of State, also asked me to convey his fraternal greetings, as well as his wishes for success and achievement in the fulfillment of the high duties of his brother Mohamed Charkazouani. Before concluding, I express my deep gratitude to the Nigerian authorities for the warm welcome and hospitality that were extended to me.
This meeting, which took place in the presence of Army General Salifu Modi, Minister of State and Minister of National Defense, Dr. Soumana Boubacar, Minister and Chief of Staff to the President of the Republic, Head of State and Government Spokesperson, Ambassador Hailo Adani, Advisor in charge of Strategic and Diplomatic Affairs to the President of the Republic, Head of State, and Isiaku Solimane, Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all bear witness, if proof were needed, to the excellent diplomatic relations that exist between the authorities of the Republic, between Niger and the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. It is also clear evidence of their commitment to further strengthening bilateral cooperation ties.
Flow representing the Android community, thank you and God bless you.